Kings Point it's an awesome place to be. It's a very motivating environment, but it's not always easy. We appreciate, people outside recognizing us and coming to support us, especially your foundation coming here. This is really unprecedented, and we really appreciate you selecting us to host your venue here. It's awesome. And we've got all classes here, everyone from the plebes, the freshmen to the third classmen, the second classmen, the sophomores and juniors, and then the seniors, the first classmen, all of us.
And then you had like alumni here today?
Yes, it's our homecoming weekend. So we had a really action-packed weekend. We had a parade yesterday afternoon. We had colors this morning with all the alumni too. The alumni formed up yesterday at lunch and marched in with the rest of the regiment, just like they did back when they were here. In some cases, it's been like decades since they were here. They did that yesterday. So it was awesome. And we had a football homecoming game today, so they were all out there for that. It's also the 50th anniversary of our academy accepting women, because we were the first service academy.
That's right.
So we
I
celebrated
read that
today.
1974.
They
2
all
years
were.
before everybody else.
And now we've got this event this evening. So it's an action-packed weekend for us. Thank you for coming out to support. We really appreciate it.
It's funny that it turned out that I called Joanna up and said, hey, and you were kind of stunned that I was on the phone, I think.
Well, you were stunned too, and here's the rest of the story. So usually when my phone rings,
that's right.
the assistant answers the phone, but I'm looking down and it says Gary Sinise. I'm like, I don't actually believe this, but I'm gonna pick up the phone. So I picked up the phone, I said, Admiral Noonan here, and he says, can I please speak to Admiral Noonan? I'm like, oh, this is Admiral Noonan. He's like, I wasn't expecting you to answer the phone. I wanted to say I wasn't expecting Gary Sinise to call, but I still wasn't sure if it was actually you. So I figured out after a while it was a real Gary Sinise.
That's good. You just answer the phone like, hey, how you doing? Hello. But I like to do that. I've just been so used to it, just calling folks up and offering a concert or something. We've been so active over the years with going places to make sure that you all know that we don't forget what you're doing, and we appreciate it. And so I always like getting on the phone myself and making those calls. But I have a great team that does that as well. And, but with you, I wanted to.
Oh, okay. Well, we're connected now, even though we keep missing each other. So, well, thank you so much. It's really exciting just to see the stage set up. This is the real deal. So, I will tell you, we do not have concerts here every day. It's probably been years since we've had one. We entertain ourselves. We have a regimental band that is amazing. We have some midshipmen who rock at times, and so. We definitely have a lot of musicians, but to have your band come here is a big deal. And I will tell you, these folks work harder than anyone you have ever met. They really do. This is the hardest academy academically. Just all the requirements they have to meet during their 4 years is phenomenal. So to have a few minutes like this to hang out and just sort of have fun is going to make me very happy. I know that it's going to make them very happy.
Good thing. I told you that I played it. And we're going to West Point tomorrow, so we'll do. And this is like a third or fourth time up there. But we're at the Coast Guard Academy last year.
I remember that.
Yeah, so we'll do that. And then we've been to the Air Force Academy and Annapolis. And we finally made it here. Let's go.
Best for last, everybody. Yeah, buddy.
And there's our commandant and midshipman. Captain Michael Stroud, one of our coaches. So everybody has multiple jobs around here. So the chaplain is also coaching the tennis team and helping out with the women's volleyball team. And what instruments do you play?
Mostly singing.
Okay,
but a little
he's
piano.
very musical.
Little piano. Yeah.
So if you could just tell Gary, what are some of your favorite things here? Any special skills you have? One of the special skills, you can see a couple people with the EMT badges. We have full-blown. We have full-blown EMTs here.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
So if anybody passes out because they're dancing too hard, they will be saved by the EMTs. So Connor, do you want to just say anything special about what you do here? Or?
So here I'm the regimental executive officer. Then I run track and field. I'm the captain of that. So 2 days a week right now we're on off season, practicing general conditioning right now. So I've been running those practices, and then just running the regiment alongside the RC here. So that's what I do here right now. So.
Classes are hard?
Ooh, yeah.
Oh yes.
So, any shipyard majors?
I'm just
Okay, well, the shipyard majors, they have 180 credit hours that they cover in 3 years, because 1 year they're going to sea. That's considered our hardest major, marine engineering systems, and they're taking like DPQ3 and all sorts of crazy hard courses.
Right.
And I love it when I talk to midshipmen and I'm like, hey, why'd you pick that major? Like, because I wanted to challenge myself.
Yeah, I was like, you know, if I don't make it, I don't make it. I'll still graduate from here, but it's
What's a shipyard major?
So, shipyard major is like learning about how to run a shipyard and shipyard building and design.
All
So,
the stuff that goes into
Right.
making things work.
yeah, so we have 5 majors, 2 are on the marine transportation side, 3 are on the marine engineering side, and they're all incredible majors. So usually the marine transportation folks become on the deck side, and then the engineers are on the engineer side. So you can say about their shoulder boards, they have a propeller, they're an engineer. If they have an anchor, they're a deck. Any deckies? Yeah,
See my
there you go.
There's an anchor on the side.
So he'll be driving the ship, and they'll be making the ship run. That's it. In the simplest of terms. But they're graduating with unlimited Coast Guard licenses. They are in demand for short mariners. So if they choose to sail on their license instead of going active duty years, 75% will sail on their license. They will serve in the reserves for 8 years. Mostly as strategic sea lift officers. Right now they're in such demand. Folks are graduating and sailing, making about $20,000 a month for 6 months of work. They only want to work 6 months. Or more if they want to keep sailing for more than 6 months. Their skill set is very, very much needed, and these are the folks that we're going to need every day to get the goods around the world, to keep our economy going, and then to keep our national security going, because this is the strategic sea lift that gets the soldiers, sailors, ammo, food, fuel to the
Makes it
troops
work, yeah.
for every branch of the service. So it's pretty important stuff.
How about, do you find that you're, each year you're filling your quotas and, do you have a line of people that want to get in, or?
So we had 300, about 300 people come in this year. That's about where we're targeting. We definitely get enough qualified people that are applying. I think right now you're helping me with my recruiting efforts so that the word can get out. So I really appreciate that. Yes, you are.
What am I doing?
Just by being here.
Raising the profile, yeah, absolutely.
I meant to do that.
Just by being here, you're going to focus like that you came here. It's like sometimes people are like, I wonder what the U.S. Merchant Marine Academy is. So we appreciate you raising our profile. So.
Genuinely, one of the things I would say, sir, is like that whole concept of like 5 service academies. Everyone could rattle off the others, but a lot of people forget about us. And I think having you here is huge. It makes such a big difference for the mids. And I think just seeing like, hey, everyone knows West Point, Kings Point is right up there and strategically incredibly important to what the Admiral said. So
I had an objective to get to all the academies. I'm just, I guess
Congratulations.
best for last.
And maybe don't tell them at West Point, but this is the toughest of all the academies, and maybe the most challenging program anywhere in the nation. Our classes are in session 11 months out of the year, and that's because we've got to squeeze so much in to essentially 3 years on campus, because the other year, these guys, and they'll tell you about it, are sailing the 7 seas with, on Navy ships, on commercial ships. They've got all sorts of awesome stories.
I would love can we do that? Can you just tell him where you've sailed so far?
Sure, of course. I'm happy to explain our senior program too. So we have an academic trimester system. So the year is divided into 3 components really. There's first, second, and third trimester. There's also 3 different sea-year splits. So we go out at different times. About a third of the regiment is out at sea at any given time. So on my first sailing, because there's 2 different sailing periods, the first one is about 4 months, the second one is 8 months. The first one spans 1 trimester, the second one goes 2 trimesters. So my first sailing, I was on our training ship for the first week, and then I spent a few weeks down in Norfolk on a government-owned maritime administration vessel. And then after that, I was on a container ship, and I was on there for about 77 days. I sailed from New York up and down the East Coast, and then I sailed over to the Middle East. I saw Oman, Egypt, Djibouti, Pakistan, India, and then I sailed back to New York, and then I started another 2 academic trimesters after that. And then during my second sailing, I was on a submarine. I was on the USS Louisiana, and then I was on a container ship. We sailed back and forth to East Asia twice, and then I was on a destroyer called the USS Howard.
You've
with,
already done all that?
Yes, I have. And I was
It's great.
and I was with midshipmen Jehola actually in the USS Howard. So I look at my classmates, and we have like the shared experience of having sailed all over the world. And then I capped that off with being on a ro-ro vessel. We sailed all around Southeast Asia. I was in the Philippines, I was in Indonesia, Singapore, and then I came back here to start the rest of my academic term. So it's really incredible. I mean, I look around at all my classmates, and we all have just amazing, unique stories to tell about the things that we've seen. The learning curve is incredibly steep, but the amount of professional development that we're able to get in such a short amount of time is really outstanding, and I think we all appreciate that.
Fantastic.
So.
You know, I'm curious. So why you know, you got the Coast Guard, you got the Navy, and you got the Merchant Marine. Why did you choose the Merchant Marine?
The opportunities.
Yeah.
Coming out of here, we can do anything we want. Really, we can go to any branch we want. We can go active duty. We can go reserve. We can sail. You can do any career field you want. Be an engineer. Be a pilot. Or work on a ship. That's why I came here.
And it's the toughest spot.
And
And it's a challenge.
probably our most famous graduate is Senator Mark Kelly, who graduated in 1986. He's a senator from Arizona, he went straight to flight school for the Navy, and then he ultimately became an astronaut. And so he's an astronaut. So maybe you can just tell him what you want to do when you graduate.
I came here wanting to fly, but now I went out to sea, as you heard Mr. Gumport over there say. He went all over the world. I love that type of work we were doing out there. So now I'm going to sail my third assistant engineer's license once I get out of here.
Incredible. That's
Where
fantastic.
are you going?
Yep, so after both first and second sailing, I've decided to go active duty Navy, hopefully nuke subs. That's the goal. Working on that right now for my interview. Yes, sir.
That's great. We had 2 graduate and go nuclear submarines last year.
I'm pursuing naval aviation right now, and then I also loved being at sea as an engineer, so kind of leaving my options on the table, and we'll see what happens.
I was fortunate enough to sail with a bunch of Kings Point graduates, so they made sound a lot of fun, but I'm also pursuing naval aviation.
I'll be going hopefully naval aviation, but I'm also applying for an active duty billet engineering duty officer of the Navy.
I'd like to go active duty Navy initially after graduation, and then following my military career, I want to go into civilian public service and go into politics.
You know, whenever I go to the academies, I have hope.
Yes.
It gives you a lot of hope when you go to the academies, because the young folks are so impressive, and really, they just give me a lot of hope for our country, and the leaders that are being, you know, that come out of the academies are really something special. That's why I wanted to get all the different academies, and I didn't know that much about Merchant Marine, but one of our good pals has a daughter here now, and
Randy?
you know, yeah, you know Randy.
Yep.
So yeah, we do a lot of work together, and but this was on my radar anyway, just because I wanted to get to all the academies and make sure I played a concert for everybody. Awesome. You're very impressive, and our country's lucky to have you.
Thank you.
There's no question about that.
Genuinely, thank you.
And I'm lucky to be here to play for you and see what you do here and learn about it. Well, thank you. And I'll tell West Point that you said that.
Lightweights.
If it comes from the deputy, I don't know. And we appreciate you. We appreciate all the support, helping us raise our profile, and certainly all you do for the veterans community and service members across the board. We hope this won't be your last visit. We'd love to have you back.
Lieutenant Dan had some time at sea.
Got
Did
to
some
see
shrimping.
So we showed the movie a couple nights ago at dinner time, so everybody is up on all of their Forrest Gump quotes and all that, right? So
And who had seen the movie before? Yeah, everyone's seen
it's
it.
a classic, right?
But did you show it on a big screen? Or?
Yes, it was on the little big screen.
Yep.
Yeah.
Dinner.
So had you seen it on like a sizable screen before?
No,
Yeah.
can't say that.
Just DVD or
Yeah, just
streaming it or something. Yeah, it's 30 years old now. Yeah, that film came out there.
I think we need a
What,
I don't know.
a sequel?
I don't know.
He's come back.
Lieutenant Dan, he's an old cranky guy.
He's still rocking.
Yeah, he's still rocking, but you know he's living off his shrimp money. They actually talked about a sequel at one point, and they were starting to line up a sequel. You know, I mean, there's only 2 of them left at the end of the movie. You got Lieutenant Dan and Forrest Gump, but then September 11th happened, and they basically said, how can we continue this story and have Forrest Gump ending up in all these different places in history and not deal with that? And they just felt like that, you know, you couldn't do the movie at that point without, you know, you can't have Forrest Gump down there, you know. Anyway, so, but I didn't really get the idea anyway of trying, what are they going to do with
They're not gonna
Forrest
put them
Gump
on
and
there.
Lieutenant Dan? You know, what are they doing?
Hey, we got the
Start a band.
multiverse now. Anything. The stars are the options.
You can create anything possible. You know, the computer graphics technology that
Yes.
they did on my legs,
Yeah.
that was kind of the beginning of a real advanced technology that all of a sudden manifested itself into what you see now, which is anything can happen. You know, Lord of the Rings and Jurassic Park and, you know, dinosaurs and whatever. I mean, you can, anything you can think of. But Bob Zemeckis, the director of that, he had directed Back to the Future, remember that? Roger Rabbit and some other movies. And he was very technically, you know, he's just a genius kind of guy. So he came up with the idea of taking my legs off in the computer. And that's when things started to happen. Yeah.
First CGI right here.
Well, I don't know if it was among
One of the more
the
impressive.
first kind of cool things. I don't know if it was an absolute first, but it was the beginning of Bob and his crew, his geniuses, you know, kind of creating all the techniques that we see now. You can do anything. Anything you can think of.
Well, it was shocking to see you walking 2 months after the movie came out. Wait a second.
Yeah, I think a lot of audience felt that way, right? A lot of the audience was like, hey, does that guy really have legs in real life, or did they put legs on? Like, I mean, a lot of people, I think, first seeing it, not knowing, said, hey, I don't know what's going on, but that was it.
People forget that you see Lieutenant Dan walking around in the beginning of the movie. So
Yeah.
Yeah, but you wonder, is that
started
prosthetics?
thinking,
Yeah.
maybe they put legs on this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was a good technology, and it was a good movie to be in. It changed a lot of things. It also, because of Lieutenant Dan, the fact that he was a wounded soldier, that's when I really started working with our wounded back in 1994 and supporting folks that had been banged up. And I got invited to the Disabled American Veterans Convention that year, and that led to a whole series of efforts and support. And now we build homes for our wounded. We do all kinds of things to support them with adapted vehicles and mobility devices and all kinds of things that we're doing out there, making a difference.
When I saw you last was 2018, and I was the chaplain of Wounded Warrior Battalion.
Oh, yeah.
And you were in Texas doing a show, and that's the first I heard of your organization. And to just see what impact you had on wounded, ill, and injured service members there is powerful. And let me tell you too, Mr. Sinise, that a lot of that comes from combat and intense interactions abroad, and our students are engaged in those too while being a student here. We had 12 that came back to us from the last sailing, involved in all sorts of craziness that happens over in the Middle East. And so your concert tonight will be for those that are operationally active in securing our national interest.
Fantastic.
That's very
I
different.
hope the rain doesn't scare anybody away.
It will not.
Sure not.
When we'll let them get out of their white uniforms, just in case there's some mud out there and people are going to be dancing around. So thank you again. It was really nice that you spent some time with us before you get geared up for the concert. I know, I think we're really excited about it.
I'm thrilled to be here, and I hope it's not the last time I'm here. I hope I try to get back to places that that can use a little boost as often as I can. So thank you. It's a pleasure to meet everybody, and thank you for serving our country.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.